Welcome to Reading the Bible with Pastor. Today we're on Genesis chapter 14. And we'll read about a war that happens in the region that Abram and Lot are in, and Lot is taken captive. Abram comes to his aid and rescues him. We'll also read about a priest that seems to come out of nowhere, Melchizedek. Let us begin. In the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Ellasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim. These kings made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. And all these joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and defeated the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, the Emim in Shaveth Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their hill country of Zair, as far as El Paran and the border of the wilderness. And they turned back and came to Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and defeated all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites, who were dwelling in Hazan Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out, and they joined in battle in the valley of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Ellasar. 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of bitumen pits, and as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, and the rest fled into the hill country. So the enemy took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their provisions, and went their way. They also took Lot, the son of Abram's brother, who was dwelling in Sodom, and his possessions, and went their way. Alright, with all these weird names, what is need to be taken out of this is that Chedorlaomer is a king that had vassals under him who rebelled against him in the 13th year, and they went to battle in the same area that Abram and Lot are, and Lot is taken captive because of this. We'll continue reading with verse 13. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, who was living by the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite brother of Eshcol and Aner. These were allies of Abram. Then Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive. He led forth his trained men, born in his house, 318 of them, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them, and pursued them to Hobah, north of Damascus. Then he brought back all the possessions, and also brought back his kinsman Lot with his possessions, and the women and the people. Abram, with a small number of people, 318, goes and defeats and captures back his nephew Lot from a force that should not have been able to be defeated. But the Lord was with him and was able to make him a great man. Remember, that is the promise given to Abram. He will be made a great man, and families will be come from his name. We'll continue with verse 17. After his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Sheva, that is, the king's valley. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. Melchizedek his name means King of Righteousness, and he here proclaims what has just happened, that God the Most High has enabled Abram to do this great thing of rescuing Lot. And Abram gave him 1/10 of everything, and the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the persons, but take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to the Lord, the God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, that I would not take a thread or a sandal strap or anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. Here again, Abram is taking part in that promise of God, that God would make him rich, not man, so he does not take the possessions of the king of Sodom. I will take nothing but what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who went with me. Let Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre take their share. Melchizedek is an interesting figure. He kind of just pops out of nowhere as a priest for God. And he is again mentioned in the Psalms and in Hebrews. In Hebrews, it is written here that Melchizedek is a forerunner of Christ. He represents Christ then, and Christ is the ultimate king of righteousness. And he's a priest also, being a priest for us, and offering himself up as a sacrifice for us. It says here, in Hebrews chapter 7, if you want to read more, but in verse 13, For the one of whom these things are spoken belonged to another tribe, from which no one has ever served at the altar. For it is evident that our Lord was descended from Judah, and in connection with that tribe Moses said nothing about priests. This becomes even more evident when another priest arises in the likeness of Melchizedek, who has become a priest, not on the basis of a legal requirement concerning bodily descent, but by the power of indestructible life. For it is written of him in Psalm 110, verse 4, You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. This lets us know that Jesus is our great high priest who gives to us all the things that we need and makes sure that we have forgiveness from God by his death on the cross. We'll pick up next time with Genesis chapter 15.